Now, if you've been following me and watching my videos for a while, you'll know that I've always flown the Demibot. And for the longest time, most of the time I've been flying HDzero. And all of this with Betaflight. Well, guess what? Recently, I got a Vanny style frame and a KISS flight controller just to see what it feels like. So a little bit backstory. When I first started flying FPV drones, I had analog set up. I did that for a few months, and then I basically switched to DJI Vistas, and then I switched to the O3 and did that for a couple months. And then for the majority of the time that I flew the HDzero video system, and I loved it. But I got a DJI O3 air unit on this drone right now. Most people are gonna be like, oh, you fucking asshole, you're a fucking dick. You're gonna say this to me, and I don't care, because you can go fuck. So one thing really quickly, everyone go to deathquads.com. And then also, if you watch my channel regularly and you like what I do and you want to support what I do, consider becoming a patron, because having resources to make better videos is cool and making videos is fun when it's not cold, but it is cold. And I got to do these outside because doing them inside is just not fun. There's nothing interesting about that. I don't know how this has to do with Patreon, but either way, sign up for my Patreon. The biggest reason that I switched and that I'm probably not gonna go back to HDzero is because the durability of HDzero is just garbage. Breaks all the time. I ripped UFL antennas, I burn out VTXs for like pretty much no reason at all. Whoop VTXs, garbage, always breaking. The V2 VTX though, I will admit, is probably the most durable and best one that they have. I did have a UFL antenna break off of one, and then one of my VTXs burn out or something. I don't know what happened, but it basically just stopped amplifying video signal. So, but it lasted a long time, but it still doesn't compare to a DJI VTX, like an O3. Like the O3 that I have right now has lasted for a very long time, and I just have more trust in that. So it is what it is. Now, one thing I will say is that the O3 latency has been noticeable. I am able to adjust to it a little bit, but it's still not the way that I like it. Especially when I like to fly kind of fast, it's a little bit more difficult to do certain things. Usually just, taking dives and like pulling out of dives or pulling out of tight gaps. Things like that are really what's difficult with DJI. I'm not saying that it's unflyable. It's obviously flyable. I've been flying with it and it's fine. I would just prefer a lower latency. It's good enough, it does what it needs to do. I can still do the stuff that I need to do with it. I can do tricks. I'm not trying to be some like professional FPV freestyle guy. It doesn't really matter. There's literally no stakes in being good at this at all. Now, maybe down the road, I'll sell my DJI stuff and just get the new goggles and the O4, because apparently the latency on that is pretty good. I haven't flown it yet, so I don't really know, and I can't speak on that. I don't really know if I want to ever really purchase any more DJI stuff, because that sort of thing is just a never-ending cycle, when in reality, one video system will just always work, because it works now. Even the O3 is really, really good. Even analog is good. Analog works just fine. I don't think in FPV you have to buy the newest, greatest thing every time the newest, greatest thing happens. Then you just get caught in this loop of spending money on the newest, greatest gear, and then you're like, oh man, I just bought the new gear. But then the new gear comes out again 12 months later. So you're just stuck constantly just upgrading and upgrading. Now, if that's something you want to do, that's totally fine. But for something so inconsequential as flying a toy drone around, I don't think it really matters that much. Now, if you're doing this professionally, that may be something that you have to do or something that makes sense for you because you want to stay on top of technology so that you can be competitive. And that makes sense. But even still, professionally, an O3 is more than sufficient. Now, ultimately, the goal will be to probably switch my 5-inch quad and potentially any other 5-inch quads that I have to analog. But I really just don't want to fuck with all that because I just don't want to configure it. I don't want to solder right now. And plus, I'm not really flying that much because, as you can tell by the snow and the jacket, it is very cold out. I don't even want to be out here right now filming this, let alone sitting out here and flying a drone. I hate the winter, I hate cold weather, I hate snow. I don't like any of it. I want it to be like 85 degrees. So right now I'm just waiting it out, and anytime I do get out to fly, I'm just gonna keep flying the O3 because it's not that bad.